Good day, everyone. Today I have Vincent with me, and we'll be looking at files and exceptions in Python. So let's go straight into it. So when Python has the ability to read, write, and edit files. So let's look at how it does those. Okay, reading an entire file. To read a file, you create the path objects. Yeah. So basically, um, for instance, let's look at an example here. Always, when we look at example here, we uh, we always have to get a path where we want to reach from, right? So let's look at in here. I think I have some examples where we are reading a file. Let me go through that too. Yeah. So in here we can see. So enable it for us to be able to read the file. We're reading this specific one. The path is this. The pi digits.txt, which is this one here. So it has three lines in it. So that's what we're trying to reach from. So this whole thing here is my URL, of which we know that we've got two types of URL. We've got the absolute URL and we've got the relative. This one here is an absolute because it takes us straight from the root all the way. Yeah. So we're using the path library. The path, this one here, to be able to access yeah, to be able to be using that to get access to the file system, and then we're storing that whole thing into path in here. And inside path, we're trying to read. So we use the dot read, and we use this right here, strips everything on the right side of what we're reading. And now that is being saved into contents. So now everything is going to be in a straight line. Let's try to read this one. We're going to be in a straight line, but to be able to split everything into separate lines, we use the split lines method. That helps us to separate everything in individual lines. And we're using the for loop now to print everything out nicely. So let's run this quickly to see. So we can see the output here. So without using the split line, let's see what happens. So we see everything will show in a straight line. By the help of the split line, let's see. That's what we can see. You can see the output down here. Okay, so that's what happens. So now to read a file, you have to create a path object in call dot read text name. So this is all we have here. We are calling this object path, and then we're using dot read right here. So handling white space. So sometimes when we take in here, over here we have quite a lot of white spaces on this side. Most of the time we can have a lot of white spaces on the right hand side, or we can also have a lot of white spaces on the left hand side as well. So sometimes we may not want those white spaces. So if we just get rid of those by using the right strip or the left strip. Or you can also use strip to strip both, right, either right or left. Yeah. So we have the method chaining. Instead of like typing those individual things line by line, you see over here, you can choose to do it like this. Then down here, you come again and say contents dot Understood. Yeah. So this is gonna do the same job. All right. Let's do it this way. It's gonna do the same job. All right. But it's also allowed in Python to chain all the methods together. So it's still fine when we put it like this. This is also perfectly fine. That's what we call method chaining. So so let's copy this right here and then we run it on our sorry. So you see over here we first created the path. Yeah. We imported from Padlet, the path library. The what we imported in um this path method is a function that is being stored in this library for each and every programmer to use. Yeah. We installed it with a package. So we're using it here to get our individual item here, which is this. This one here is a um relative URL. Let's run this to see. Sometimes we do face challenges using the relative URL. So but it's good to use absolute URL when you're 100% sure that it's going to give you the outcome. It's going to find that file for you. So over here, it's talking about the URL. You cannot find that URL. Let's it says file not found error. Let's fix this quickly, then we come back here. Let me fix that real quick. Let me get a URL that's been known. That works perfectly fine. It's right here. Or sometimes if you don't, you can also come to File Explorer. Then you click down into it. That was chapter 10. So
Yeah.
all the way in here, and this one we're looking for. So the URL is the one that is up here. So we copy this URL, then from there we come in here and we paste. Don't forget this. Yeah. You know, in Windows, it's always like backslash instead of forward slash. So it's a good practice to just okay. Let me do it this way. So we have everything on our imports is small. Mm. And sometimes if the path is giving us problem, we put in an R here to allow um, Windows to accept that initial backslash. But it's fine. So now let's try to run this to see. Let's run it to see. Let's run it. Okay, so it works perfectly fine here. We can see the output here, down here. Mhm. So let's run it one more time. Yeah, we can see it working nicely. So it went into this one here and printed everything out. And we see over here, it's really got a lot of numbers in here. If you also want to get access to this, or if you want to read it, we can easily go in there and come into this place. It's called, the name of the file is pi million digits. Okay, let's run it to see. So we can see that it has read everything nicely and split everything into individual lines. We're not looking at it nice because of the viewports. Okay, so that's how we can reach from other files systems. So we can see over here we have that chain, the method chain over here in action. instead of assigning those methods line by line by line, so we can change them as well. So basically, that's what it's saying over here. Now let's go to number two. Number two is like relative and absolute path, of which we know that the relative path is relative to the current directory which you are in, and then the absolute relative to your yeah, straight. The absolute is the full address starting from the root of the folder, just like you can see here. See here, uh, user, what I'm highlighting here. So that's like the absolute path. Because you see that our relative path was giving us problem, hence we went to the absolute. But it's also fine if you can be able to use both relative and absolute. And we can see example here as well. So it's note, even on Windows, use backslash. So let's see. Let me just copy this and put it here so I can read the entire thing here. Let's paste it here. So we can see that in here, even on Windows, uses the backslash. You can you should always use the forward slash. Yeah, in Python code. The path lib fixes this automatically. As you saw that when I copied it, everything was in the backslash. But because of there's a specific feature in this path lib that allowed me to change it automatically for me. Yeah. But in case it doesn't change it for you, you put an R in front there, as we saw previously. So that is what has happened. Processing of file line by line. See, that's right here. If you want to look through a file or inspect lines, you can use this split line that helps you to inspect each and every line by line. To turn a massive text string into a list of individual lines. As we can see that over here we've got individual lines that are in here instead of all of them showing up on. So basically that is what is happening there. So we have this from input tab. Always it has to be on top. This right here. So it has to be all the way at the top there. That's just a good practice according to type 8. So basically that is what is happening here. We're using a for loop to iterate through each and every one of those items, all those digits we get it from this one. This one is an example. It's not going to run on my local PC. Yeah. So that's what is happening there. And we can also see a number 4 that we can also write. We don't just read, but we can also write to a file. Yes, but we use the write dash text method, which is also built in. It's built into this path lib, this path library that allows us to write to the specific file. There's a warning over here. If the file already exists, this method over here, which is write underscore text, will completely override the contents without asking. So if you already have this the file name that you extract from the path, this using this one right here is going to replace it completely without even asking permission from you. So because of this problem, there's a solution. We'll look at a solution later. Python can only write string of text files. So whatever we're writing in there, the type is going to be converted into string. So that is what is happening over there. So you can see the content. You first write your own content that you want. That you can see, I love programming. And this right here is to go to the new line. I love creating new games. Takes you to a new line. So all of that is going to be stored inside the variable called contents. And now we're looking for a program text. So what we're doing is we created all of this content and now we're trying to push it in. We're trying to put it into this path. So in this last line here, what we're doing here is now putting it in there, putting the context into that, into this file over here, the text file. So we have exceptions and error to help us avoid errors in our code. Okay, so let's delve into it. Exceptions are special objects Python built um, when a running program encounters an unexpected error. Instead of letting your program crash with a scary traceback error, you can you can catch a trace you can catch it gracefully using the try except else block. So the try except else architecture. This is the structure of it. It first start with the try keyword, and we also have the except the keyword that comes after, and then we have else. So the try is gonna come is you put only a specific line of code which might cause an error, which might fail or crash. Then you're gonna have exception. And exception should have the error type. You see, sometimes in the terminal, I do have an error. If I should run this example here, you see I'm gonna have an error because my file path does not exist there. And let's see what the error is gonna say. Let's run this first. So you can see the error here. This is the error here. Syntax error. So sometimes if I don't want to see the user, you don't want the users to see this, you're gonna put all of this whole thing in a try, and then the exception, you're gonna type exception, then exception block, you're gonna type in syntax error, and you type in what you want the user to see instead of seeing that syntax error in there. And we got some common examples of the errors. Sometimes we have a zero division error. We also have a file not found error, of which we saw when we were running our initial code before. And we also have different types, but we're looking at only two of them today. So that is it. Let's look at this example right here. So what we're doing, what example here is doing is printing two numbers that are so let's copy this and then we paste it in here. So let's see what the code does first, then delve into it. Let's run it. So you can see what it's doing here is asking user for input. You can see my terminal, right? Let me close it and then open it again. Open it like this. Okay. So now you can see it's asking to enter two numbers. And you know, in numbers, you cannot divide anything by zero. When you try that on a calculator, it's going to give you undefined, right? That shows that it cannot be. But let's put in our values. Let's put 77. Any other number? Let's put 3. Yeah, that works fine. Our result is a float. Let's say 2 to 1 divided by, let's say 9. That also works. But let's say 7. We want to divide it by 0. You see, it says, oops, you can't divide number by 0. Because you see over here, this whole thing here, this whole thing right here is a for loop. So it keeps looping forever and ever and ever because we have unless we type in the keyword one. Yeah. If we type in Q, it's gonna quit the for loop. Oh, this is gonna keep asking us forever and ever without it. So that's what we have. So all of this is being stored inside the try. You see, so zero division error. You can see it right here. So without this, let's try to eliminate that and see. Let's take this out of here. Let's take this out of here as well. Mm, Okay, now let's run the code to see what's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I put in any number. Let's say 44. My second number is going to be 2. It divides everything nicely. Let's say, let's put Q. When we put in Q, you realize that we quit out of the entire thing. Now let's try dividing by 0 to see what happens. Okay, let's say 8. Oh, so let's run a code. Sorry. Let's say 8. We want to divide it by 0 now. Now we have an error. Sometimes we don't want our users to see this type of error. You can see it's written here, 0 division error. That's when the try except comes in. So it's going to look for the error that we know is likely to occur when the users are giving us values that we know we don't want them to. So let's try fixing that. So that's why we use the try. It's like what you call it, a strainer that sieves through possible errors, and then it's gonna find this error. In case the error doesn't exist, it's gonna go straight to the else, right? But in case this um in case the error appears, it's gonna go to the accept and tell you that oops, there's something wrong because of this possibility of the error that has happened. So basically, that is what is happening here. And in number 2, we can also see the file not found error. That also works fine. Let's copy that and see how it runs. Okay, let's run the code. So now you can see, sorry, Alice does not exist. And of course, it doesn't exist. If you look at the path, let's have a look at the path using the path lib to give the path, so that's correct. And this right here is our function. So these are the specific ones here. So this path, this also doesn't, they don't exist. If you look in here, you see in my directory, these are relative, paths. They don't exist. So we're definitely going to have errors. So you can see, sorry, the file Alex does not exist. Now let's get a file that exists to see what happens. Let's come in here. This right here. Let's copy this path. This complete absolute path. Let's copy. And let's go back in here. And put in that. Yeah. Syntax is very important. Let's go back and check this. Okay. So we can see over here. Let's run it again. That's three. So now you can see that this file here is working perfectly fine. But what it does here, it takes the complete file path. That is what is showing here. It says the file, this right here, it ends here, has three words in it. So when we go into that file, you see here, um, digits. You see over here, it says three words. The reason why it's saying word is that whenever it's reading, it reads everything as a string. And whenever it's writing to it, it writes everything as a string, as we saw earlier. So that is what is happening. It says it has three, it looks at those three individual lines. So that is what is happening in there. And this one here, I don't have this part. Hence, it's going to give us this message here. Sorry, the file with the name here does not exist. And it's associated for the last one too. This one also does not exist because those are the ones that certify the accept block here. You can see right here. Sorry, those individual files don't exist. Okay. Instead of we having um, trace back error messages. So let's go looking at. So here's a quick summary. It's a quick summary of the concept. So we use this right here to get a path. Right, it creates a path tracking the objects, or the key behavior. It works universally across Windows, Mac, and Linux. Okay, we use this method right here to read the text. We use this method here to split individual lines to individual lines so we can read them nicely. We use this one here, right here, to write text. Yeah, we use one to write text, and we push that into um, a patch, or I mean a specific file we're referring to. And we also have the else that is going to run just in case there is no error in the try block. So this right here is what the main thing we're looking at. Code safety wrapper. It's just a safety feature that we have. So it runs only if the try block has zero errors. So that's what is going to happen in the else. Okay, so thank you guys for being here. And thank you, Vincent. So this is
No problem.
chapter 10, which is the file interceptions. Okay.